Hey you, it's your favorite biblical bestie here. I was getting ready to film some content and looking at where God has brought me right now, and I never would have thought I would be here, putting myself out on a public platform, talking boldly about my love for Jesus, talking boldly about how important it is to truly live for Christ and deny your flesh and take up your cross and follow Him, right? When I see how the Holy Spirit has empowered me to do this, I realize that the enemy knows the plans that God has for us from the very beginning. He knows what God has planned, right? He knows that God has purpose for you. He knows what is intended. And so he tries with every effort to stop things from happening. I remember I was watching a testimony video, right? And I remember someone saying how years ago she got, I don't know how social media works with certain sensitive topics, so I'm just going to say violated. So she was violated by a dark skinned man. And so, because of that, she ended up growing up to hate dark skinned men. And it wasn't until coming to Christ and getting her healing from that trauma that she experienced, she then met her husband, who, wouldn't you know it, is a dark skinned man. So the enemy knew how beautiful marriage is, the purpose that marriage is for, and the power that it wields and it holds. And because he knew the destiny for that woman, he put such a terrible, terrible incident in her way to try and stop God's plans. But no one can stop the Almighty. No one but ourselves, because God gives us free will. I'm saying that to say, when I look back on my own life, I realize that from the very beginning, the enemy was trying to shut me up and cause me to cower down by having me to live in this place where I have such low self esteem and just don't want to put myself out there to be seen. And it's very weird. I can't even necessarily pinpoint exactly when it happened. It's something I would really have to dive into with Christ and, possibly a therapist in the future. But I realized that, when I was younger, I was doing all the things, like I was writing stories, poems, I was singing, I was dancing, I was so involved in so many extracurricular activities, and I am a very creative person, and I did have outlets that where I was able to express my creativity. But there was somewhere along the line I lost that about myself, and it caused me to not want to speak on anything because I thought that what I had to say was not important. It caused me to not want to be seen and shrink back and always wanting to stay to the back of a room. And it really was the enemy who put certain events in my way, who put certain plans and schemes at play in my family relationships, in friendships, in my interactions with the opposite sex, all of those things in a combination to distort my view of myself, because he knew that there was something that God had purpose for me to do that involved my mind, involved my creativity, involved my voice. And so I'm here to encourage you all today that please do not shrink back. So many people, especially Christians, believe humility is you having low self esteem, and humility is you acting like, oh, you're not all that. But you are a daughter of a king. You are the son of a king. You are meant to stand out and to shine and to be set apart. Royalty. Now is not the time, and I don't know who I'm speaking to, but now is not the time to be playing small. You have so many gifts and talents inside of you. Things that God has placed in your heart that you even know a long time ago that you were supposed to do, but you've been putting it off because you want to play it small. And I'm telling you right now, it is a sin to have the gifts that God has given you and to not use them and to be anything other than what God has called you to be. As long as you are professing and claiming and standing in the truth of what God has told you about yourself and the truth of what God has given you, there is no reason to be humble about it. There's nothing wrong with having confidence in yourself because of what God has said about you and put inside you. So go forth and shine, lovelies. And I would really love to know, what is it that God has been placing on your heart, or what is it that God has been telling you to do, or something that you've always wanted to do but you've been putting it off because of a specific reason. I really want to hear about it. What's been stopping you? Let's chat about it in the comments.